Hey guys, late night shave, late. As usual, open comb, 68 gap, timeless razor. And it is usually, as I've stated several times, a little too aggressive for me if it's got a young blade. Well, we've got an old Nacet in there. Also, here's my B2 Zenith boar brush. Really have enjoyed it all month. Today is my penultimate shave. There's a vocabulary word for us today. Penultimate means next to the last. All right. If I would have started on August 1st with the Austere August Midnight Stag Challenge, then I would be on August 30th right now. But I started on the 5th. So today is my next to the last one. And here's the Nacet. 200 dots on there, plus these little 3 right there. And so today is shave number 204. And we have, because I traveled today, the blade is actually in the wrapper instead of in the razor. Here's the top side that I've been putting, mounting it in the razor. Here's the bottom side with that half of the X there that has been on there since the beginning. Normally I put the blade in just kind of randomly, but I'm doing a science experiment with this blade. Always shaving with it a certain side down. So taking apart my timeless razor here, make sure the X is facing up. Timeless is awesome. You see those little rails right here, just always makes sure that the blade stays perfectly aligned. It's just been a wonderful razor. All right. Also got the aftershave on hand, the alcohol-based aftershave for Midnight Stag. It's part of the challenge from Steven at Dogwood Handcrafts. He makes shaving brushes. Here's the soap. I use apparently just a quarter or a fifth of a gram of shaving soap per shave in the techniques that I've been showing you. And so it's very different than the other guys who've been charting the weight of their containers. They're using 1 or 2 grams per shave. So we're all different. All right, I'm going to first get my face wet. There we go. A little bit of cool water. Okay, now I'm going to take the brush and shake out a lot of the water. Okay, it's just my technique, works really well for me with a lot of soaps. And then I'm going to do like you know what, let's do a 15-second load. I started at 31, so we'll go to 46. I'm going to do a longer load than usual because I want to do an experiment here. There we go. This is twice as long as the other lathers, other loads that I've done. And so it will actually give me a lot more soap if I mix it at the same ratio. Well, today, let's go for kind of a dry lather. I have done that in the past, and it has not been as good as my usual nice wet lathers. But here's my thought, because I was just watching Kevy shaves the other day. His lathers are a lot drier than mine. He starts it just thick on his face, or at least it's a dense, dry layer on his face, and then of course, because he's usually a face latherer, and then he then starts to add water to the brush, dip the brush in sink water, and then keeps working his face, and maybe he goes back 3 or 4 times to get more water. And that's just what he does. And he gets good shaves. So here's the question. Is he Does he get shaves that are as good as mine? Or as good as somebody else who uses a lot wetter of a mix? He mainly doesn't do as much scrubbing motions. He likes those synthetics, and he does more of the painting motions, the back and forth. Well, it's also easier for him to do because he doesn't have a goatee like I do. But I've just added the 2 teaspoons, and so this is less water than my preferences usually allow this soap to have. So I thought, you know what if people like Kevy who are lathering pretty dry, what if they are doing something that hasn't really matched my dry load, my dry lather attempts? What if maybe the thing that they do differently is, yeah, it's dry, but maybe they work it longer on their face? Because one of the big issues I have with a dry lather is that it doesn't really bond with your face very well to protect it and keep that irritation away. And so I am wondering if I took a lather that was too dry, like this one's going to be, and I just worked it longer in my face. Let's see what happens. Yeah, you have a nice stronger scent because it's a higher concentrate of soap. So I'm just experimenting with an idea I had, and since I'm using the same gear, same brush, soap, razor, blade, everything's the same this month, or this consecutive 31 days, it's a great time to play around and experiment. When I'm changing soaps all the time, experiments are kind of null and void in a way. Okay, well, it is drier than usual. Yep, I still see those micro bubbles that I've been getting the whole month. See that jaggedy appearance? See, I don't get that. I haven't gotten that all month because this is just more dry than I usually like mine. Okay, so let us throw some water on my face. Now let's put this dry lather on there and see what happens. Just really work it in my face and see what I get. Because I'm just a big proponent of those really slick wet lathers. They seem to be treating me really well. I wouldn't be surprised if they were a secret of or one of the main reasons why I'm able to get so many uses out of a blade. Those wet lathers providing such good slickness and lubrication, less wear on the blade edge maybe. Just guessing. Now I kind of feel like it's been long enough, but let's kind of take it a little bit longer and kind of prove the point. Definitely feels and it looks thicker than I usually go, for sure. But maybe my thickness projects and experiments just haven't worked it into my skin for long enough. Maybe that's the whole issue. So maybe if I want thick, creamy shaves, I just have to work them into my face more. I'm going to take that and put it back in the bowl because that's just kind of excess. Now I like putting my lather on in the splay. Kevy doesn't really do that. He has those loves those synthetics like the tuxedo knots, and those don't really splay very well at all, and so that's why I don't like those. So this is the splay where I push it in and kind of do circles. You can splay and go back and forth if you want. All right, well, let's see if this is going to be enough. We have a thick layer that is a lot more dense than a lot more dry than I usually play with. All right. Shave number 204 with the Nacet. Well, it's not really tugging too hard. So maybe that's one of the secrets. If you'd like to go with a creamier, drier lather, I might have to try this out with a young, fresh blade, you know, see what happens. Now also, if it's a preference thing, you may get more soap buildup on your razor if your lather is this thick. You may get a stronger scent. I am getting a little bit of tugging, but that's kind of normal for this razor. Normal for this blade at this age. And rinse. With that rinse, my face did feel a little more irritated than it has with my other lathers. It would be funny if the people who experience irritation switched to wetter lathers and all of a sudden that irritation or sensitivity just went away because they had just been using higher concentrate lathers than they needed to. I don't know, maybe. Cross grain now. The scent is definitely stronger, and since I usually like stronger scents, maybe for some soaps I might want to focus on having a drier lather and then just working it into my skin better, longer, you know, taking more time to do that. So the wetter way seems to be faster. Bonding with your skin more quickly. Less irritating, also less scent strength. More economical with soap usage, that's for sure. So that's the second pass. It is nice to have options though. It's nice that, you know, in moral areas of life, I personally believe that there are moral absolutes, things that are always wrong, things that are always right, you know, that sort of thing. But in shaving, it's really all relative, and that's okay because it's just shaving. If you do something wacky and crazy, but it works for you, it doesn't give you irritation, you know, is smooth for you, comfortable, treats your skin right, enjoyable, then nobody needs to tell you that you're doing it wrong. And that's nice. I was talking to somebody today, giving them a little, they were asking a question. I believe it was in the YouTube comments on a past video. And they were asking a question, and they were saying there was somebody online who was kind of advocating speed, as in moving the razor kind of quickly over your skin to maybe be a little bit more effective at cutting hairs. My personal thought on that, after I thought for a few minutes, was that that might tend to be a little tricky. One of the things that I advocate is a light touch on the razor having a light touch on your face, and very kind of flimsy movement, enough to control the razor and keep yourself safe, but only that. And so that it can move over the contours as it needs to, without you being the one to press into the skin. And if you're trying to be fast, to cut hairs quickly, so maybe you cut them better, then it kind of seems a little opposed there with a light touch. You rinse now. But in the end, as I was talking to him, I also said it doesn't matter what I say. That might be my initial thought. And who knows, maybe if I play around with going fast, maybe it doesn't work for me. But if it works for you, then there you go. It's all that matters. It can be totally opposite to what I do, but if you're happy with it, you get a good result from it, a result you like, and you like doing it, then do it. That's just the way shaving is. The way this lather is, get back to the current shave, I don't have nearly the closeness that I have with my normal lathers. And so I think maybe that's the death knell for this dry lather concept. Not only does it kind of give me a little bit more irritation because of the drying aspects of the soap, the concentration, and the more time it takes to work it in. Those are some deficits, some disadvantages of a really dry lather. But the killer is I have a way worse shave in my neck area here. My cheeks are fine. Cheeks are okay. But it's just not nearly as good as my 3-pass shave has been with my more normal method over the past few weeks. And it's very different by far. So I think that's pretty telling. But hey, again, you may like to do another pass or a touch-up to get this if you like to have that thicker lather. You know, for me, I would rather have a closer shave at the end of 3 passes. And that's my preferences. So for me, this is the dry thing is not a go. How about that? Good. I'm glad I tried it because it wasn't pasty feeling. I did feel somewhat protected. It was better than my previous dry attempts, but my face did not feel nearly as nice and protected as with my usual wetter lathers. The lathers always look nice when they're drier. They pose for pictures better, but when they're wetter, they work better, at least in my opinion. Just splashed a little water on my face in preparation to help the aftershave to kind of spread around a little bit. This one's got a little bit of menthol to it, and that's not my bag, but I have gotten more used to it. It doesn't bother me quite as much as it did in the beginning. I love this scent, just really nice. Wife doesn't, but I do. I'm gonna keep cleaning up. All right, so there we go. Our new vocabulary word, penultimate. The penultimate shave is done, and that means there's just one more tomorrow. The 205 looks like that'll be the number where I end this Austere August series on the Nacet. Just for grins, I may do one more shave with Midnight Stag just to kind of lay down a bonus one, and who knows, we'll see. But there we go. A little dry experiment today, running the lather a lot drier than I usually do, and it did work. And I think one of the keys is to really work it into your face. However, it does have some disadvantages, and we listed those during the shave. So you can play around with it, see what you think. And maybe you like it dry, and that is all right. So there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Hope there's been something good here for you. You take care. Almost done with Austere August. See you tomorrow.